Right, so starting right from where we left off right here, we basically updated the schedule formula to now look at the new 921 data rather than the old 920 data. So we know that it's looking at Christy's name, it's looking on the scheduled tab from J to L, and within J to L, it's looking at the third column, which we know has the 921 data, and false means it's giving us the exact value rather than a rounded up value. And I know that's what I want. So right here, I know it's looking at the day after. It's looking at the day after here. So if I drag this down right here, I know all these formulas are what I want. So I can go ahead and drag it down to the rest of the group. Now, the ADP data is just not going to pull up because I haven't inputted 921 hours yet, but the schedule will because I have. And look, it pulls exactly what it wants for you. So if you go to schedule and you kind of go down over here to Tegan, you can see instead of putting in a 0, we put in quit, and it gave us exactly that. So we can just kind of go ahead and update that real quick, and then just kind of make a note that she was termed, so that, that doesn't create a variance and stuff like that. But the next thing we would need to do is just go to ADP and upload the data for the new time frame that you're looking at. So always remember when you're pulling data, since we have some graveyard advocates, say, this data subset, it's from the 16th to the 20th, and, we're now going by day. So it's going to be, the 16th to the 21st. Instead of just pulling from the 16th to the 21st, I'm actually going to want to get the 15th to the 21st. And the reason being is just because we have some graveyard advocates that work into the midnight and kind of early morning hours. So having their hours the day before really helps us get rid of variances that are just a formatting thing. So once we get that data, I just kind of go to raw data right here. I get everything by clicking this top corner button, and then I just click backspace. Just go ahead and get rid of whatever's in there. We're going to be giving it new stuff. Now that this is downloaded, double click here and get this data uploaded. Okay, so now it's all gone. Now I'm going to paste normally. I don't really have to paste as values here, which is kind of nice. Usually takes a couple seconds. See, I already pressed paste and it's still kind of thinking. So if you get the same, totally normal. But then once the data is pasted, the only thing you're going to need to do is go through and look for names that are the same and individualize them, like, add an extra character so that we can differentiate between the first, second, and third Brittany or whatnot. And then one thing I've noticed that I just kind of like to do, if we don't have any trainees or it's been a while since we have had a transfer, this won't be necessary. But if you have some new hires, there's a possibility they might be coming from another campaign. So I usually just kind of drag these 98s down because the 98 represents the Chegg campaign, and if they were transferred and it shows a different number, sometimes that'll mess with things. Again, not something that you usually have to do if these people are not recent hires or recent transferred. I promise you they'll already be down to the Chegg campaign, but just for the sake of doing it, if you have new hires, do that to the very bottom. Alrighty. Say I did the whole thing and I didn't see anything other than 98. So I didn't need to, but just kind of an example. All right, so now we have 921 data and we have 921 scheduled data. And this is the 16th to the 21st. All right, so now the last thing we need to do is just make sure these total hours are summarizing all of the data we have, where you can see it's, kind of highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not this cell, but this cell. So instead of it kind of W2, which is this guy right here, I wanted to do T2. So I'm going to change this W to a T. And you can see it then highlighted this guy. So good. Now it's summarizing, and basically some formulas, I'm adding all the things that you give me. That's all it's saying. And so I'm going to do the same. Right here, instead of having 5 selected, I only have 4 selected. So I'm just going to enter in a comma right here and select that 5th scheduled box and drag down. I'm going to make, of course, this guy gray just so that when I drag down, that formatting carries on. Drag down to the whole rest of the team, and that is how you add a day of data. Easy like so.